Hello, everyone, and welcome to an Apo a Day. This is your host, Apo here. Hope you all are doing well. We're going to go ahead and start off with our 5-minute meditation. Here we go. I prove myself to the only person that matters, myself. My goals are achievable. I am so thankful for the obstacles I have overcome on my journey. I become tranquil, relaxed. I am able to embrace love while letting go of fear. Even devastation is an opportunity for transformation. I am achieving inner peace. I let go of the feelings that don't serve me. When crazy things are thrown at me, I choose to face them with calmness. I release myself from what I can't control. All my stress and tension is melting away. I am capable. I recognize that worrying about the future won't influence it. I remain calm when faced with adversity. I breathe in peace and exhale my troubles. I am walking away from harmful situations. I will remain calm through hard times. I take deep breaths when I am feeling anxious. Calm is on the other side of my doubts. I approach stressful situations with peace and clarity. I overcome any obstacles on my road to health. I find love and support inside and out. I choose to see obstacles as opportunities. This will get easier. I am free of anything that weighs me down. I do what I need to get better. I am taking steps to reduce my anxiety. I let go of all those thoughts that no longer serve me. I am feeling uncomfortable, but I will get through this. I attract a calm, positive energy. I have the courage to get through any situation. I will always choose positive thoughts over negative thoughts. I am free from self-doubt and filled with self-confidence. Calmness washes over me, and I feel at peace. I identify negative thoughts and let them go. I am strong enough. I can handle anything that comes my way. I feel the stress leaving my body. Being calm is part of my nature. I am allowing myself to be present, releasing the tension of yesterday. I am stronger than my anxieties. I am peaceful and harmonious. When there is chaos around me, I am the calm. Life has many ups and downs, but I stay calm and grounded no matter what. I have peace of mind. And that is going to wrap up our 5-minute meditation. So let's go ahead and get into the episode topic. Alright, so this week's episode topic discussion question is, what are the best traits I bring to my important relationships? So as I said in previous podcasts, you should know by now, whenever I mention relationships, it is inclusive of platonic and romantic relationships, you know? So when you ask yourself this question, it's also important to be able to realize and identify the different roles that you play in other people's lives. Are you a mother or a father? Are you a sister or a brother? Are you a husband or a wife? Are you a best friend or an enemy? Are you a teacher or a student? Are you an employer or employee? Right? So all these are examples of roles that you have in other people's lives. And it's very, very important to identify the roles that you have in people's lives and the expectations that are required of that role, as well as the traits that you're going to bring to those relationships and to those roles that's going to be able to make you perform as best as possible. So, for example, right, the best traits of you as a worker may not necessarily or automatically correlate to your best traits as a life partner with somebody. I'll give an example. If you're a hard worker, but you're the type of person that, is always in their work, right? You may not think about having a lot of time outside of work to, have downtime or chill time, or in general, have time to foster a relationship with somebody, right? So if you're a workaholic, that's great for your employer. Your employer loves it because they can get a lot of work done from you. You're making money, so that's nice for you. But it takes away from the relationship you may have with your partner or your children, because you're not able to give them the time and attention and love that they may need with your presence. So the traits that are required or that you bring to certain roles are not always directly positive or necessary or, ideal for other roles in relationships. So, what are some of the best traits that you bring to the most important relationships? What are things that overall are traits that you have that is good in all relationships that you have, What are traits that are going to be able to carry over into all the roles that you have, right? I think those traits are more the traits that you can look at. Obviously, when you have roles, you have specializations of traits in those roles. Now, as I said, sometimes those traits are not the most ideal for other roles. So I think what this exercise and what this question really is going to be asking you is, what traits are you able to carry around to all roles and it be effective, like base ground for doing your role properly, right? So for me, one of the traits that I offer is understanding, right? Being able and willing to hear people out for any type of explanation, They may give, giving people grace as you give yourself grace. In general, being understanding of other people, their situations, their way of thinking, their method of madness, being understanding, whether it is in, dealing with your coworkers, finding out why they're late or why they can't complete their task on time that's infecting your task, or trying to figure out why your partner's pouting, Understanding is very, very important. It's a very ideal trait to have in any type of relationship, With understanding, I also see the need to have kindness, because it's one thing to understand somebody, but it's another thing to offer them kindness that either you're not judging them for their reasoning, or you're not insulting them for their reasoning, Another thing is not making people feel inferior because of their way of thinking, right? Kindness goes a very, very long way when it comes to understanding, especially because it is almost, in a way, empathy, It's a way for you to put yourself in another person's shoes, understand the tasks that they have to do on a day-to-day basis, and not be too hard on them. Like, obviously, if it's work, you want everybody to do their part, you want everybody to contribute so that the work can get done properly and in a time efficient manner. But as well with that, you do need to offer kindness. It's when you have a work environment, you always want to make sure that this environment, especially if it's one that's your career, is one that you're willing to go to, that you can wake up in the morning, right? And you're not dreading to go there every day. Kindness helps in that aspect when you're a light to others that you interact with. At the very minimum, even if things are really, really bad for you or really, really toxic in that environment, you being that beacon of light, you being that beacon of hope, allows the workplace to ease, to rest a little bit. It's one reason to come to work. One thing I find that's a very common thing that you can do is if you're the first person to work, right, and like you have a break room or something like that, brew a hot pot of coffee for yourself and your coworkers, so when they get in, they have coffee. Yes, it's something that, if you're doing it because you want the coffee, but you're making a whole pot. People that are coming in, maybe they're still tired, maybe they're still groggy, maybe they're cranky, they don't have their caffeine, It's a kindness that you give unto other people. Hey, your day might not be going well, but here's something that can help out. It creates a bond, a friendship, a positive work environment just by doing one thing. And the initial aspect of that one thing is a quote-unquote selfish reason, You're making the pot of coffee because you want the coffee. But why not just have more to it? It's not going to hurt you. It may take a little bit more time, but you're still going to be getting your coffee, And to have, that's just a very nice thing to be able to offer into your work environment. Very, very small thing, right? But it's one of those things that goes a long way in fostering a positive work environment. Same thing in households, right? I'll give you a very realistic example. you ran out of toilet paper, right? When you're using the restroom, you going and putting a new roll of toilet paper on the holder, so that the next person that goes to use the restroom's not crying, I need the toilet paper. They're not saying that. They don't have to worry about that, because it's there. Right? It's interesting how that's, or as a role of a student, if someone misses class for a reason that's, excused or whatever, and they're like, oh my gosh, I don't have notes, and the test is coming up, you're just like, I got you. Here's my notes from this day, right? And maybe if you made a Quizlet or some other study guide or whatever, give them access to the study guide. They may buy you a coffee for it. Do something. They maybe get you with the notes next time. So it's very little things that is forms of kindness. It's a way of paying it forward, but it's also creating a positive work environment for yourself. And more importantly, by creating it for yourself, you're also creating it for other people. You're also creating it for other people that are in those environments too. A lot of times when people see either positive or negative things, right? It's what fosters the environment that you're going to be in. If you see a lot of negative things happening in your environment, if you grow up in a more toxic environment, right? You're more likely to breed toxic environmental things as you move through life, right? You're more likely to see negative aspects of things. If you grew up in a more positive environment, you're going to see a lot more good, but you're also going to want to do a lot more good. Not always is this true for either side, but most of the time it is, right? Another trait that's really important is being caring or having compassion, right? So this is the aspect of understanding and kindness together to create an empathy for others. So you see this a lot in all roles, but I'll give you some examples, right? So in a partnership, when you're in a relationship with somebody else romantically, if you split chores or whatever, and it's your turn to do dinner tonight, but you come home and you're really tired. You have the understanding and you have the kindness and compassion of your partner. Like, we'll just order out. Don't worry about cooking. We'll just chill tonight, watch a movie, and then you can go to bed, right? For a parent to a child, making sure that the child is, up at 5 a.m. or 6 a.m., whatever time they need to be up to either you bring them to school or they get on the bus to go to school. You may not start work until 9, but you're up so that you make sure that your kids have a future. You're fostering a future for them so they can build the life that they would like. Starting from when they're young. And that's something that starts at the very base level, very initial levels of parenthood. For teacher and student, right? This goes both ways. Teacher and student can both be caring and compassionate, right? So, one of the prime ways that instructors or teachers are compassionate and caring towards their students is by, if a student has a question, they take their time either during office hours, before class starts, or after class, to spend a little bit of time and explain a topic or a concept. If need be, they can come during office hours and they'll go with you through it so to make sure that you understand the material. One of the reasons, or one of the ways that you can be compassionate as a student, right? Or that students are compassionate, by signing, well, not signing, by going to class and allowing your instructor to teach. And sometimes, you don't get the way the instructor teaches the first time. You may not get it the second time. You may not get it the third time, right? But allowing them to help you help yourself is a really important way that you can be caring toward your instructor. Most instructors, right, at the very base, they would like to see, pass rates very high. Now, some instructors don't care so much about students' complete understanding. Some of them do, some of them don't. I don't know what type of instructor you may have or have had, but it can be either or, right? The best way that you can help your instructor help you is understanding what are your weak points. That means doing your job as a student. That means going through the material. That means reading your syllabus. That means asking questions. That allows your instructor to do a better job. Because believe it or not, instructors do feel bad having to give out Fs. They do feel bad having to fail students. Because they know it's a delay in you bettering yourself. They know it's a delay in you getting a future job that can pay bills and support your family. They know that. They don't like to have to fail you. But you also have to be willing to work with them so that that doesn't occur. Right? Organization is a really, really good trait to have in every single role. I know you don't want a teacher that's losing all your tests and is not able to put in your grades in a timely manner, and you be wondering about your grade throughout the semester. You don't want to have to be borrowing notes from a student that doesn't, have anything dated. They don't have any type of organization of what is going to what is going to be on what tests, kind of thing. You aren't confident of, a partner that doesn't have an aware order to their life. Maybe it's the fact that, they don't keep their clothes in a certain way, or they, sleep at weird hours or shower at weird hours. I understand that, insomnia exists, so it's not too much of that, but it's like how you work around those type of situations is more what I'm talking about, right? Maybe they don't know how to budget properly, and it causes problems with figuring out how much money is coming in and out of the household. At every single level, even employer and employee, it'd be really, really bad if your employer didn't know how much to pay you because you didn't turn in your timesheets or your pay, they didn't keep track of your pay stub or didn't keep track of how much tax they were withholding. So you don't know how much that you paid on your taxes during the year, right? Organization at every single level is super important, and it's a very, very good trait to have across the board. This one's a little bit of depends on how much, right? Determination or ambition, right? Sometimes, depending on the situation, it can be good or it can be bad, right? Not always good, but not always bad. Usually, when using the right connotation, along with these other traits that I've listed, it is a positive thing. usually, what I mean when I say this in conversations is that you're determined to fulfill your role properly and as best to your abilities as you can. And that's all that anybody can really ever ask of you, is that you do whatever you can, the best that you can, and the best within your ability. And even if the best you can is not where you are right now, it is still a goal that's an unobtainable goal. Hopefully, I wouldn't say set unattainable goals for yourself, but if you feel like eventually you'll be able to do level X when you're at level W, right? You can still work towards it. You have to have that determination, that motivation, that ambition to get to that place, that ambition to get to where you want to be in terms of being able to fulfill that role properly. Number one thing, one of the number one things is teamwork. I've seen team building exercises, team assignments, and projects incorporated since I was in high school, which was like several years ago, like 2012 to 2015. Oh gosh, when they started incorporating more group projects and stuff like that, because they were seeing in the workplace, specifically, that's why they did it in schools, they were seeing in the workplace that people didn't know how to work with others properly. They didn't know how to, communicate with others. So, with teamwork, communication is a very, very big thing. Very, very good trait to have. And it carries over into your relationships, because the whole idea of these relationships, you are a team, you are a unit with the person or persons, right? Based on your role. The student and the teacher, you have a relationship. You have a role that you need to fulfill. You're a team by doing each of your roles correctly and properly and to the best of your abilities. You can't have a teacher without a student. You can't have a student without a teacher. Right? You can't have a parent without a child, or a child without a parent. Understanding that in every role and every relationship that you are in, you have a team. There are different strengths and weaknesses of each of the members of that team. So the best of your ability will have strengths and it will have weaknesses. But it's up to you as an individual to identify, as I said in a previous podcast episode, your strengths and your weaknesses so that you're able to perform those roles as best as you can. Push and pull, yin and yang, right? This is basically the strengths and the weaknesses aspect. This is you covering for someone else's weaknesses and them being able to amplify your strengths, kind of thing. And vice versa. But to be a well-oiled machine, to be a unit, to be a team, you have to be able to know your other party, know what they're good at, know what they're not good at, and make sure that those deficiencies don't show so that you're able to work properly. I know at least almost everybody's had an instructor that was maybe a little frazzle-brained, right? And they weren't able to follow instruction properly. And because of that, they never did well on tests. They couldn't understand the material because the instructor lacked in how they were communicating the information to their students, right? It's a very interesting aspect to look at in every single role that you have, how important each of these traits are, right? Lastly, right, I think people should realize and understand that all roles and all relationships require an application. Just like you fill out a job application, there are applications for all roles. I would say the only exception is probably parent-child. But even to certain situations, that can be voided, right? But relationships require an application. And what that means is that in any role that you have, right, you will come across that there are many, many candidates filling out that application for that role. But what is very, very important is to realize that not everyone is qualified to complete the job. And sometimes you take a chance, maybe this, person, I'm gonna trust them for right now to fulfill their role properly. And maybe you get down the line and just like, yeah, this is not it. This is not for me. This is not gonna fly, right? If that's the case, you can be fired or you can be promoted. Right? So I'll give an example. So in terms of romantic relationships, right? You have, say you have 10 criteria you're looking for in a, life partner, right? And you're checking all the boxes going down. They have this, they have that, they have this, they have that. And then you get to a scenario where they do something that's a deal breaker. And I mean a real deal breaker. You know what happens? They get fired. They get fired from their job. They're no longer, boyfriend or girlfriend, or wife or husband, or life or partner. They no longer have that role anymore. It's something within the resume there initially that they didn't fit the qualifications for, or it's something that can, have evolved or adapted or grown over the course of the relationship that you just find out it's a deal breaker, right? And that's fine. Everybody has their preferences, everybody has their qualifications and the requirements for any relationship that they have. And they don't allow people, you shouldn't allow people that don't meet those qualifications try and fill those roles. A lot of times you'll end up hurt. A lot of times you'll end up disappointed. So you always gotta vet the people that you're allowing to fill those roles in your life. Always, always, always. On the other side of that, right? You can get promoted. You can go from acquaintance to friend to best friend, or friend to partner, or best friend to partner. You never know. You can go from friend to boyfriend or girlfriend to husband or wife. On the employee's version, you can go from employee to employer. You can go from student to teacher. Right? One of the things I see is a lot of people apply for jobs that they're not qualified for. Like in real life, statistically, it is there, right? But I mean, in just retrospect of like in terms of relationships in life, so a lot of people apply for relationships they're not really qualified for, or that I would presume they were not qualified for, or somebody else may presume they're not qualified for, right? But yet they get the position. I'm not gonna say like this in terms to call people out or be negative, but I will bring up I've seen a TikTok where a lot of people were bullying this woman, um, sh- because she's bigger than her husband. And, they were saying all kinds of things to, like, justify that, oh, he's only with her for the X, Y, or Z, right? And it's just like, no, she fit the qualifications for the job she applied for. She applied to be a girlfriend, she got the job. She applied to be a wife, she got the job. Because she met the qualifications that he was asking for. And I understand, you can be pissed or whatever that somebody's with somebody else and not with you. It's tough titmouse, honestly. But I think it's really, really important to remember that even if you think they met your qualifications, you might not have met theirs. And that's the difference. That is a very humbling thought that you need to take with you, right? A lot of people need to take that from what I've seen. But yeah, that I think that's a good way to wrap it up. I mean, yeah, I'm good. So we're gonna end it off by saying 3 good things, right? So, number 1, I am proud to announce that I will be joining Mercer University as a student pharmacist, class of 2016. 2016, oh my gosh. No, 2026. Good, dude, Jesus, where has the time gone? Okay. I'm a little sleepy. Maybe that's what it is. Class of 2026. I've been fully accepted into their doctor of pharmacy program. And I will be starting in the fall, so I'll be starting life updates on the blog with that. On my website with that, really. So I hope you guys, if you're interested, I'll be including information and stuff on my journey to becoming a doctor. Right? Good thing number 2. I found a really cool TikTok live when I was scrolling around the TikToks. Yeah, I'm gonna shout them out. They're called Highland Crystals. I don't know. I've always thought crystals were cool. Was never read too much into them, but like, I am shouting them out simply because their live stream is so calming. Like, you can put it on, you can take a nap with it, which I did earlier today. It was a really good nap. But in general, watching them interact with customers on the live, they're very positive and they're very honest and they're very kind people. And seeing their humility, even when like insults are thrown at them and there are trolls in the chat, reminded me of what I aspire to be like in terms of letting things go, letting the water roll off my back. So I'm extending the, I guess, invitation for you guys to, check them out on TikTok on their live stream, Highland Crystals. Because it is a good reminder of how much of an importance it is to be kind, how much it is to be honest. lastly, I will say that I won't talk too much about this, um, but I'm working on, some writing projects, and I don't know, I'm really, really excited to be writing again. Really excited to be, putting feelings on paper and just being creative. So I'll leave it off with that. I would like to thank you all for listening in. I hope you all have a wonderful rest of your day and the rest of your week. As always, you can tweet me at an apple a day with 2 Y's on Twitter. Questions, comments, topic ideas, etc. Right? But yeah, thank you guys all so much for listening in, and have a good one. Bye.